So today we celebrate the feasts of Simon and Jude, and I'm guessing people here don't really know a lot about Simon and Jude. And that's because we don't see very much about them in the scriptures at all. We think Simon, well, we know Simon, but this is actually not Simon Peter. This is a different Simon among the 12 apostles. This is Simon who was also called a zealot, which means before he became a follower of Christ, he was part of a revolutionary group fighting against the Romans. And then Judas, not Judas Iscariot, but the other Judas who was an apostle, who they believe is now later referred to Jude because they didn't want to refer to him as the same name as Judas after what Judas Iscariot did. That's about what we know about these men, other than the fact that they were among the 12 that Jesus chose to be apostles, and they went out to proclaim the gospel and establish new churches, and both of them were martyred for their faith. But as often said about many saints, especially the ones that we know little about, what we don't know about these saints is almost as important as what we do know. What we don't know about them tells us so much. Why is that? Well, the fact that we know very little about these two men means they didn't come from any great background. There was nothing about them that stood out. They were two ordinary men. They were two people that most would never have expected to take on what they did, to be appointed to the responsibility of being an apostle. And when we talk about what exactly an apostle, they were the ones who went out and became the leaders of the church. And their successors are now the bishops. The people who continued the mission that Jesus had appointed to them are now the bishops of our church. But they were just ordinary men from humble backgrounds. What made them special? What made these men the great men that they were? The fact that Jesus chose them. That's where their holiness came from. That's where their greatness came from, is that they were men who were chosen by Christ for a great task, and then he sent them into the world to accomplish this task. Why is that significant for us? Because when we look at our own lives and we think there's nothing significant about me, there's nothing great about me, there's nothing that I'm going to do in this world that is great, well, we are just like the apostles. We are ordinary people chosen by Christ to do his work in the world. And when we think that there's nothing great about the work that we're doing, or there's nothing important about what we do in our ministry, we have to remember that this is what Christ has chosen us to do. And that as we go out into the world to live our faith and proclaim the gospel, we are doing that mission that he has called us to do. Whatever we end up doing with our lives, the greatest thing we will do is what Christ has called us to do. That's why it's important for us to spend time in prayer, spend time growing close to him, to know exactly what he is calling us to do in this world, because he has a plan for each one of us. And that's where we will find our true greatness.